Welcome to the Thrive Mindset Podcast, where manifesting your dreams isn't magic, it's momentum. I'm your host, Carrie Dahle, entrepreneur, author, and manifestation coach, and I'm here to help you stop holding yourself back and start building the life you've been craving. Each week, I'll share real stories, practical tools, and powerful mindset shifts to help you reframe the negative, embrace gratitude, and take aligned action toward your goals. If you're ready to up-level your life, your relationships, your success, then this is your place. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Thrive Mindset Podcast. I'm Carrie Dahle, and today I'm super excited to have Stephanie Urbina-Jones with me. She is an amazing singer-songwriter, an author, and the founder of Freedom, Folk, and Soul. Welcome, Stephanie.
Oh, it's so great to see you
in
real time, not just on the screen. We're on the screen, but we're here.
Yes, it's great to see you too. So I love to start every episode with the story about you. And I know there's a lot of that. So maybe we can focus on Freedom, Folk, and Soul and how that all became for you.
Yeah. So since I had this dream of being a musician my whole life, but what I didn't have was self-esteem. I had this vision of who I wanted to be, but I just was crippled inside. And on my grandmother's deathbed, she called me to her side. And at the time I was writing songs full-time as a songwriter. And that was a great life. I had rendered gratefully so. This is my mojo. This is my magic. And on her deathbed, though, she called me to her bedside and said that I would be a messenger and that I was here to, she said these words, which was so wild, share country music with Chili Peppers and to share our culture and be a bridge. And she was saying all this in Spanish, mensajera, la puente. And I was like, I can't, Grandma. I was like, I'm broken. I can't do that. I had tried to sing and I just couldn't. There was no foundation inside of me. She passed away and I went to Mexico, and in this little newspaper in Mexico, San Miguel, it was completely in Spanish, but there was this one little thing that said a gathering of healers. And I was like obsessed with this word, healer. What's that? And so I went to this little Mexican curandera's house in the middle of nowhere, Mexico. And believe it or not, she did all these healing ceremonies, but she also did breath work with her drum. And I had this profound journey and experience. And as a matter of fact, this supernatural experience where my great-grandfather came to me and told me it was time for me to go make music. And I continued to work with her as a healer, and I went back to Nashville and I mortgaged this house I'm in for the first of 4 times to make my first album. And so that's how my music journey began, but it took tremendous courage because, again, I was so filled with self-doubt. And fast forward 10 years later, I had a record deal. Little Big Town, who everybody knows and loves, had discovered me in Europe. And I was set to be the Latina of country music. So here I was. And right before that record was supposed to come out, my husband at the time asked me for a divorce, and it broke me. It was the break that broke everything. And of course, I didn't know. I was doing my best to live my destiny and the mission that was on my heart, but I couldn't. It just broke me. And that is the doorway, the portal to meeting Jeremy Pager, my husband, and the co-founder of Freedom, Folk, and Soul. He had helped my little brother. And my little brother had gone to treatment, and he would call and talk about this guy named Jeremy Pager. And so I went to this treatment center for a weekend retreat, and there was all these Toltec teachers there, and they were doing all kinds of ceremony and experiences, a temazcal, a sweat lodge, which Jeremy was hosting, a fire walk, a breathwork. And in that one weekend, there was so much profound shifting. And what I realized was I had been doing counseling and therapy. I was aware of why I wasn't well, why I was somewhat emotionally crippled and stuck in a lot of ways from in my childhood that was calling me to it, to come back and rescue myself, but I didn't know how to transform myself until that weekend. And like even in one weekend, it was like so much came alive, and I was able to not only see but feel my way and begin transforming. And once I got that, it was game on. In a few years, people were seeing my life transform, and they were like, I want to be with you. I want to work. I want that. I want to come alive. Jeremy and I've been together for 15 years, but I've only been, Freedom Folk and Soul has been for 7 or 8 years. The experiential transformation, embodied somatic healing was where it was at for me. And Jeremy was a Toltec teacher. He was already leading journeys in the pyramids of Teotihuacan under the lineage of Don Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the Four Agreements. And so I would just pop in, and here we are. It's miraculous what has happened in the last 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
just
that's
had a
it.
small bit of it with you
Yeah.
and it was amazing. But I think for those that don't know what you guys do, can you share a little
Right.
bit about that?
Yeah. Again, Jeremy comes, we teach what we know and what works for us. So Jeremy is in recovery, and he went in that recovery, became a Toltec dreamer for 5 years. He did not miss a weekend in 5 years. Understanding of this Toltec wisdom of how to live a life of personal freedom. Yeah, there's only 4 agreements, but how do you live them? So he really was a student and an apprentice to these ways. He also, I think it's for 8 years, he went to South Dakota and became a sun dancer. So he carries all of those rites of passage. Again, the Native American indigenous understood that it was in the body, from Vision Quest to the Temazcal to all the different things that we do. And then we studied under different teachers and became really understanding that we are a world longing for initiation. The indigenous knew that we needed initiation, we needed ceremony to move from one state of being to initiate to another. We do that when we get married. Oftentimes there's a ritual, there's a wedding, there's a preparation that moves us from being single to being engaged to being married. And so when we are in these evolutionary times, when we're longing for experiences that help us move from one way of being and living and dreaming into another. And so Freedom Folk and Soul is really about creating initiation ceremonies and journeys. All of our journeys that we lead around the world, they're always on purpose. People come and we're like, it's glorious. You're 2 weeks in Peru seeing all the heavenly sights, but we're traveling with the indigenous Peruvian shaman. And by the end of that journey, the women that were with us, we're becoming who we were born to be. And so that's what we do. We do it with music, we do it with breath, we do it with, what do you need? Oh, you need to move from believing that you can or can't do this. Let's create some kind of experience to usher this moment in. No,
I
that
just love
answers
it.
it.
It just fills my heart listening to you talk again. Oh, and it's so funny because you started out with that you were insecure. And I've only known this version of you, who is this beautiful woman who sings, who owns her own, I don't know, space. Like you just shine with this light that, yeah, I just love it.
I do just want to say this to that, and that is, What you don't know is that I've gotten really good at taking risks. It happens at least once a week where I'm presented with, this past Saturday night, I got a phone call saying we need somebody to sing the national anthem for 15,000 people at this Hispanic American. And I'm scared because I'm like, will they like me? And how am I going to pull this off? I'm almost always, I have a relationship with my fear. Always. I'm playing the Grand Ole Opry on Friday night, one of the biggest stages in country music. Today, I'm nervous about it. And so it's just that relationship with our doubt and that fear, and then doing it anyway. And then we grow that muscle of trusting spirit, ourselves. And I don't know how you feel, but I'm 58. I am like, game on.
I love
It's
that.
time to live.
Yeah. And you are doing everything you said you were going to do and so much more. But the best part of it for me is that you're helping people and you're helping them through your music and your writing and your story and your sharing and experiences. And you and Jeremy do this beautiful, it's not a dance, but you do this dance around each other in a way that it just, I don't even have the words. It's just magic to watch the two of you share your uniqueness, share your gifts with the world. Anyways, so grateful for that. And I'm super excited for you being at the Grand Ole Opry. That is amazing. What an accomplishment. What do you think it was about maybe your childhood or young adult that made you so fearful, right? So scared to be who you are?
Yeah. I can see it clearly. And that, I go back to my first experience, just my mom being 21, my dad being 18, being Mexican American in Texas. That wasn't like an okay thing. I was actually told not to tell anybody that I was Mexican American. So I had this like adoration for my dad and my culture, like that grew me. It's just so much joy, so much the sweetest. And then this story, this little worm of don't be that. And so that was one of the major agreements that I felt shame about who I was. Being, again, my mom being deeply wounded woman. And I understand now what happened. And, just I'm so grateful she had me. And I'm so grateful that she married my stepfather. And I grew up in this small little Texas town where the town became like grandparents and parents in the church. And my music teacher, I can see God, spirit everywhere taking care of me. And the agreements, the story that I made was that I wasn't wanted, that I was unlovable, and that I was not enough. And then you put the shame that I felt about being who I was that I just hid. And you can see, and I wrote about this in my first book that I was a part of, Sacred Death. I know that we've been in books together with Brave Healer. And this one moment that my grandfather was my person. And so when I was 3 or 4, I was with him all the time. I didn't understand that he wasn't well. I just know that I got to spend time with him. And then they tell me he dies. And I didn't understand that. You don't understand that as a kid. You hear those words, he's dead. And I'm like, where'd he go? And then the next scene is he's in the coffin. And I'm like looking in the coffin and I'm like finally getting it. And then they're putting him in the ground. And they put him in the ground and I'm at the edge of his grave saying, don't leave me, one, and I want to die. Because you see how we make agreements. A little kid's grandfather, her person dies. I want to die. Of course. That agreement was so emotionally profound that I wanted to die until I learned how to live. And the point being that as a Toltec teacher, this is the essence of it. We're dreaming all the time, and we create an entire filter of a life that we end up living until we go back and discover what those beliefs were and where they came from. And then we can initiate through that, transform that. So now I can see it. I don't want to die. I want to live. But I've had to heal that little girl that was so broken. So it's been my research. And honestly, what we created in the Toltec medicine wheel of transformation is going back. Where are we stuck? Where did we make these agreements? Not just with the mind, but the body, and then doing experiences that help release that. And the most important thing is that pain becomes our power. That pain becomes our mojo. The sexual trauma that I experienced that had me locked down in my life force now is my power. Now that's what I create life with. Now I understand, oh, this thing that happened to me at 4 years old, wanting to die. Now I hold experiences so people can remember how to live. It's that we think that we do this. No, I don't want to go back there. And for me, the truth is, when we go back and look under, it's not a monster. We get to come to know and hold those younger parts of ourselves, feel our way through them. And then we're like filled with that life force that we've been, the motherless child becomes a great mother.
I imagine the people that you spend time with and help go through these journeys, that there's a lot of them that probably fight that for a while, or fight.
Absolutely.
I know I would fight absolutely going back and dealing with some things that I don't want to see or revisit ever again.
Absolutely. It's very common. And what I find almost always is life continues to bring those things forward. We always say it's coming for you if it's up for healing. So it comes up in the filter in areas of our life or in the longing. Like I would see a woman that felt so comfortable in her skin, and there'd be such a hurtful ache in me because I want that. I want to love myself. I want to feel good in my skin. Or relationships. I had so much that I wanted in a relationship, intimacy, connection, that I couldn't get to. It just kept bringing up, yes, people do. We always say if you say yes to coming to Teo, there's going to be gargoyles at the gate. And we tell people that's going to happen. And it's almost like another sense that gets developed. You know that when you come close to the actual wound that actually kept you safe by not going to it, there's going to be, I don't want to go there. But what happens almost every time is in a safe environment. Finally, it comes up. And that we're pushing against for a lifetime, in 30 minutes, it's transformed. And sometimes that means we cry for 24 hours as that emotion that's been like stuffed down comes up. But it changes everything. At this moment, I am in communication with one of our people that went through our programs who is now leading an author's journey in Ireland. And I'm just so...
I've chatted with her.
Did you? With Tiffany McBride?
Yep, I have chatted.
I'm so proud of her. This is like the greatest thing, to be a witness with someone and I'm not doing it. We're just holding a sacred container and they're feeling safe enough that they can bloom in it.
Yeah. Have you seen other people like just their lives take off? Just they start to so much more after all of this.
Tina Green she came, her husband had gone through the wheel with us and we met her in Northern California and she came and she didn't stop coming. She went through the wheel once. She came back as an apprentice. She came back as a master apprentice. And now she's teaching it with all the kind of ceremonies and rituals, but also her own way because she's onto it. Her life has just like bloomed. My little brother, the guy who introduced me and Jeremy, my little brother went to treatment. He's now almost 17 years sober, but emotionally was stuck. So he had this tremendous wisdom and recovery, but emotionally he was stuck in certain ways in his life that were reflected. And so he called me and he said, I think I'm ready. And so he just finished 1 year, the wheel, and the next year, the apprentice. And now he's doing breath work and he's so turned on by it. He was saying last night, I just want to get to the end of the breath work because he knows he doesn't know what happens. And that's just the beginning. I'm so excited for him. Yeah, almost everybody really that comes, you see it on their face, you see it in their lives. One of the things that we do is we meet with people ahead of time and we create that safe container. And then that group goes through together. And so you witness each other and though to see it. And it's still in me. I still got these little rubs in me. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to face that. But I know that's more freedom, more love, more self-love, more self-respect.
Okay, Thrive Tribe, pause what you're doing for just a second because I've got something really exciting coming your way. In just a few weeks, I'll be launching my brand new online course all about gratitude. Now, I know you've heard me talk about gratitude before, but this course takes it to a whole new level. Gratitude isn't just about making lists or saying thank you. It's about rewiring your mindset, shifting your energy, and literally changing the way you show up in the world. And I'll be guiding you step by step to make it part of your daily rhythm in a way that actually sticks. So keep listening for more details because this isn't just a course. It's a reset button for your entire life. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. This episode of the Thrive Mindset podcast is brought to you by the Scott Lewis Group at John L. Scott Real Estate. Buying or selling a home is more than just a transaction. It's your move. It's your next chapter. And we're here to make sure that your move is remarkable. We know this market inside and out, and we care deeply about helping you find more than just a house. We want you to find the place where your life truly thrives. Whether you're stepping into your first home, upgrading to something new, or starting something fresh, you deserve more than ordinary. With the Scott Lewis Group, it's your move. Let's make it remarkable. How have you, because you have a daughter too, right? Yes, okay. She knew you before all of this, right? And she's watched and witnessed you go through all this. How does that transcend into her life and the things that you've maybe taught her as she's grown and gotten older?
Now you're really going to get me. So
I'm sorry. You don't have to.
no, I want to share it with you
Okay.
because it's beautiful. When I had her and I was going through a divorce, I felt I wouldn't have had a child if it weren't for my first husband, only because I didn't feel like I had the ability to parent and mother. I just felt so ill-equipped for myself, for sure. And then for her, we got divorced. And so then I was a single mother. My greatest fear, I was living it. And how am I going to support all the things? There was this one night where she's crying for me and I couldn't go to her because of my own brokenness. It was like, if you were emotionally abused as a child, you will emotionally abuse yourself. We create that within our body system. Imagine she's in her room crying for me and I'm outside the door, but I can't go in. And what am I doing? She's being hurt and I'm being hurt. I'm hurting myself, telling myself what a piece of crap mother I am. I couldn't break through it, right? At the time, this has been one example of how I felt unworthy as a mother, right? And so she's been like, thankfully, she's had a Nana who's really been maternal, and Jeremy's very maternal. And we are very close, but there's still this emotional distance, right? And that's painful for me to tell you, but it's important that I tell you that because I know I'm not the only mom around. So I would go to her and she would flinch. Not because of this history. So here's the great news. I had a conversation with her at Christmas time where I sat down with her. And I trained her in a way to be disrespectful to me because I was disrespectful to myself, right? And everybody in my close, I trained everybody. Again, I was abused emotionally. I did that to myself, and I created that around me, right? And people don't even know. They don't know. It's just normal. This dismissive tone, not
Exactly.
little things that are just a part of everyday living now. So something happened, and I was like, I'll meet you in my bedroom in an hour. And I sat her down and I said, it's not your fault. I'm sorry. It's not your fault. You treat me with disrespect, and I taught you how to do that. And everybody does it. And here's an example. It's not your fault. And at first she was like trying to not, but something happened. And then emotionally we broke through. And somehow I brought in my mom and this, you're the most important thing to me, Zeta, the most important person in my life, except for me. And I cannot be treated with disrespect anymore. I don't know how to do this, but I can't do this anymore. I loved you. I would lay down my life for you, but I can't do that. And something happened, Carrie. It's something began to shift. And something began to shift with Jeremy. And so here's how I'll end this story because
Still going.
it's still going. But this is, so her birthday was last week.
Okay.
And we were just getting back from Peru. And so I've always been the mom where I haven't been able to be in certain situations. Her birthday is always so important to me. So I reach out to her. She's turning 21 and I'm like, what do you want to do for your birthday? Oh, don't worry about it, Mom. My friends are doing this, they're doing this, they're doing that. So the night before her birthday, I had a show in Nashville. So I called her right before I went on the stage and I said, what are you doing? She's my friends. They have plans and I have to work tomorrow. And I'm going to go to the DMV in the morning and I'm going to get my driver's license fixed up. And then I thought I'd go to Crumble or places that might give me like a free something for my birthday. No, this is what I'm thinking in my mind. Oh, it's like midnight. And I'm so glad that I got the transmission because everybody was like, you don't need to go. I went to bed at 1 a.m., got up at 4 and drove 3 hours. Surprised her. She's in the DMV parking lot, had a cake, had balloons, had the engagement ring that her dad had given me that I had put her birthstone in. And it was an important moment. She sat across from me and she was like, Mom, thank you so much for coming. It meant the world to me.
Mm.
And something shifted. And I feel like it's a redo of that moment. I'm standing outside of her door when she's a little kid. And so as I've healed, so has she, and so has our relationship.
I love that because obviously none of that had happened the last time I sat with you and talked to you. Interesting that you mentioned that you taught her and you taught everyone else around you how to treat you because that's something that my husband says to me often is that I've taught everyone how to behave because he'll say when I get frustrated when people aren't doing their part of the work or they're not doing this and it's because you've taught them you'll do it all and you don't need them. And it's when somebody says that back to you when you have a person who can be so honest with you. What a difference it makes because it was right. I had to do the same thing and not as an emotional thing because I think your story is just, it's heart-wrenching, but more I had to remind myself I have to teach them how I'm wanting to be treated. And that means I have to adjust what I'm doing and share that. And even if I'm not good at it, I have to verbally at least say it and keep trying.
And it's so counterintuitive, right? But the truth is, when we love ourselves, when we take the time, the money, whatever, and put the focus on ourselves, that is the greatest teaching we can give them. Then we're teaching them how to respect and love themselves and how to do that with us. But it seems so like wrong to put ourselves first,
Because we're talking about that selfish. right? As women
Right.
specifically, I think women are really taught that you do everything for everyone else and you put yourself last.
Yes.
Do you want
Good.
to talk about your new song, your new single? Do you want to talk about that at all?
Sure. It's interesting because it's the first time when my grandmother passed, she said I would be a messenger, a mensajera of our culture. And so I've always been like, is this it? Is this it? And of course I'm doing it. I've done it, but it feels like there's more. And this song in Spanish, Rhinestone Cowgirl in Spanish, is the first Spanish foray stepping out into that world. And it's funny because I've never had less going on as it related to a single. And the cool thing is that I'm okay with that. I'm just like, I'm knowing I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
Mm.
And I'm just having a great time. I have a great team. I'm a manager. I have the marketing director that worked with Ricky Martin and Gloria Stefan and Selena. He's working with me. I'm recording with these mariachis in Mexico that
Mm.
this is the mariachi group I would have grown up listening to at my grandmother's house. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a free fall, but I don't, it's weird. It's one of the things in the Toltec world is to dream and then detach. And sure, that was an idea, but I couldn't ever imagine. But I feel like that. Like I feel like I'm dreaming.
Mm.
I'm creating these dreams and getting all dressed up and it's, it's magic. And then I'm like, whatever happens.
Ugh.
So it's
Well,
awesome.
it looks amazing. The photos that, yeah, it looks amazing. Is that what you're going to sing at Grand Ole Opry on Friday? Or are you doing
Actually,
country?
no, because I'm gonna sing, I feel privileged because to date, Carrie, I moved here. I've been in Nashville 30 years, and I was waiting for the Latina of country music to come through. And 30 years later, there's still not a Latina superstar.
Mm.
It's so wild to me. And so at some point in this last book, I was like, oh, I'm it. Even though it's so crazy, the timing of it, but I'm willing to do that. And I appreciate that the Grand Ole Opry, the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Bluebird, these institutions
Mm.
have given me the doorway. And yeah, I'll be singing a cumbia version of Walking After Midnight, which Patsy Cline made famous, and another song I wrote called I Want to Dance with You. And then also a song called Adios, Mis Amigos, which I wrote for my abuelita when she passed.
I love that.
But they seem to love it. And I wear all these designers from Mexico. On Friday, it's this giant dress that has a giant jaguar on it.
Oh,
So it just gives me permission to just, I don't know, put fruit on my hair or do whatever I want to do,
oh,
which is, there's a freedom that
yeah,
comes with age.
yeah. But
You-
also comes with your healing.
you-
I love it.
I hope you come,
I wish
join
I
me.
could come to Nashville on Friday, but that's a little short
Yeah,
notice.
yeah. Come to Nashville, come to the Opry, or come on one of our amazing journeys. You
It
love it.
it will happen when the time is right. I know that. And I keep telling myself that. And I keep saying I'm not going to force it into a space because it's going to work when it's supposed to. And that I do know. And I love that you continue to hit me up and say hi. I love all of that.
That's because you and I had a thing.
Mhm.
We had a moment. It's rare. It's rare
It
when you
is
have
for
that
you?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's rare when you have that kind of like soul thing that happens. I trust it and I pay attention to it. So I hope you'll forgive me. I have to be loyal to it,
There's nothing to
And
forget.
so
There's nothing.
okay.
I honestly, I appreciate every time you send a text. I really do.
Good.
And I know that one time it'll be right. It'll be the
You'll
right.
go,
Yeah.
that's the one.
If I were to ask you to share one last thing that maybe we haven't talked about or is on your heart or that you feel like people need to hear, what would that be?
Having just come back from Peru, I'm so grateful that I have no idea how we got connected with this Peruvian mystic
Mm.
author, Jorge Luis Delgado, but he has been, like Don Miguel Ruiz was for many years and always will be. Jorge has been our co-facilitator, and I just drink in his wisdom. And he taught me about this thing called the Pachacuri and these ancient tradition that believed that there would come a time of the Great Awakening, of the sunrise of humanity. And they believe that we are in that window now. And I'm like, well, how can we be in that window now with all hell breaking loose all over the place and the heartbreaking things? Like, how? When I put it in the context of if it is the rebirth, when a woman goes through birth, it's messy. It's everything is breaking open and coming. It's the process of something dying for something to be reborn. And I don't say that lightly. It's not like hip, hip, hooray, because I'm not. My heart is connected to humanity and the hardships that we are collectively and individually facing. And I'm holding the high watch and believing that this new sunrise, that we are upon it. And it's giving me permission to continue to stay both compassionate and humbled with the tears, but also the hope of holding that new life. And I'm seeing it everywhere. You, the way we met, and so many people coming alive in their love of a new dream. And regardless of what your spiritual beliefs are. And so that's what I want to say. Keep going there to situations and to people that invite your heart to continue to open up to the sunrise, to joy, to love. Do what it takes to take care of yourself so that you can be inspired. Even if it were all over in next year for any of us, which it could be in a second, for any reason, how can I live my love now? What does that look like today in this moment at the grocery store, right? That's what I want. More and more love and presence. So that's what I wanted to say.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
here and for sharing everything. And I'm just excited. I'm excited for what's happening to you, what's evolving in your life, what's changing, what's growing. I'm excited for Jeremy. I'm excited for all that you guys have created together. Ugh, it's a beautiful life.
It is a beautiful life. And it's come with a lot of hardships and commitments, but that is what has birthed a new way of living and love. And so I'm so grateful. I am so grateful that you asked me, especially so I could see you and feel you and remember this connection that we have. And thank you so much.
Aw. Oh my gosh. I absolutely love that conversation. I hope you guys did too. Stephanie is an amazing human being. She has so much to give this world between her music and her stories and the books that she's written and everything that she and Jeremy are doing with Freedom, Hope, and Soul. I just love her. I think that she's an amazing human. I hope that you all got something out of this. And if you did, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. And above all else, remember that I believe in you and you can manifest the life of your dreams.